Yo. What's up? What's the deal? What is the deal? And I know it's a little bit different. Normally I do, you know what I'm saying? I go right live right after a Texan game, or I go live through the week. And already did my live at the end of last week of breaking down the Texan season. But I want to do something a little different because I see a lot of tomfoolery going around. Yeah, what's up? What's up? My bad. But like I was saying, a lot of tomfoolery have been going on. A lot of tomfoolery. Regarding the two games that happened last night in the championship game, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it last night, but I had some other stuff going on, so I didn't get a chance to really get live and really go into it. But we all seen what happened last night. In both the NFC and the AFC title game, we both see the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, going to his fourth Super Bowl, his fourth total Super Bowl. He's already won two. He's lost to Tom Brady against Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2020, going to his fourth one. And then we see Kyle Shanahan going to his second one as the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. No sidebar, that's who Patrick Mahomes won his first Super Bowl was against. But let's talk about the games because, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people have been missing the absolute mark on both games because it's more than just Pat being great and then the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan being one of the most talented teams in the NFL. And a lot of people was going to think, the 49ers were going to be a chalk pick for go to the Super Bowl for the NFC side. But if you watched the game yesterday, that Detroit had that game completely handled. And Detroit Lions should be in the Super Bowl. Detroit Lions should be playing in their first ever Super Bowl ever in that game. And we already know what the problem is. The problem is Dan Campbell. The final score was 34-31. The Detroit Lions was up at halftime 24-7. Had the football already up. And the opportunity to kick a field goal, to extend the lead, and to put themselves more out in front. Dan Campbell, Riverboat Gambling Dan, went out there again. To be honest, it's a good thing, especially for Dan Campbell's family. The way he was gambling last night, they don't go to Vegas. Because if they would go to Vegas for the Super Bowl, Dan Campbell's family would probably be broke. Because he loves to gamble. Because he went up there and gambled, went for it on fourth down when he should have obviously kicked the field goal to extend the lead, and then then that's when the wheels start falling off. San Francisco got their momentum. Now you put Jared Goff in a situation, now you put Jared Goff in a pressure situation where he's under pressure. I'm not talking about under pressure from the pass rush. Now palms start getting sweaty. You know what I'm saying? You start clenching your pearls, and pads start getting tight, palms start getting sweaty. You start overthinking things and start making mistakes. That's when you get Jahmyr Gibbs up here fumbling the football after he was toting the rock all game before playing extremely well. That's how you get those type of things going when you start doing stuff like that, because you started putting things out there in the perspective. Okay, this game should have been over a long time ago, but we allowed the San Francisco 49ers and their crowd and Brock Purdy to get back into this game. And then, not only did you mess up right there and there, you got a repeat. You got a redo. Because the 49ers start clicking on all cylinders, right? They go out there, they take the lead. Your defense holds them. They kick a field goal. You hold to a field goal, they kick a field goal. Now that you're only down by 3, you get the football back and you start driving again. You get in the field goal range. Now, clearly kick the field goal. Let's tie the game at 27. And hey, hopefully we can get another stop or whatever. But no matter what happens in that next stop, we still have a position to either take the lead or tie if you take the field goal, at least if you take at least the last field goal. I really don't excuse you for the first non-going field goal, but I damn sure don't excuse you for the last one. You obviously got to go for that field goal. And what do you do? No, Riverboat Gambling Dan, what does he do? He goes out there again and gambles. And goes out there again, gambles, doesn't get it. And what do we have here? We have the 49ers getting the football back again, scoring a touchdown this time. Now they're up by 10. Now it's 34-4. You were up 24-7, and now you're down 34-24. Just a complete switch in the second half because Dan Campbell act like he had to gamble. And then I hear the defense for him today. Oh man, but that's what God does here. That's what God said. You don't change how you play. That's how you play all season long. That's the reason why the Lions didn't get the number 1 seed in the begin with, or the number 2 seed in the begin with, because he did the same thing in Dallas. And the thing is, in that game, the exact same situation happened. You go for a 2-point conversion. You get you go for a 2-point conversion. You get it was a penalty. I think a penalty on Dallas. You don't get it. Okay, kick the extra point. You do it again, and you missed it this time. I think the first time you got it. You get it again. This time you miss it. Another penalty on Dallas. Go for the extra point. You get it again. Another penalty on Dallas. Bro, kick the extra point. Nah, I'm gonna end it. It's just very idiotic. I don't care about people wasn't eligible, all the other. Bro, it don't matter at this point. Now kick the extra point and let's go home. Let's kick the extra point. Let's take it to overtime. Like, why are you so scared to go to overtime? Kick the extra point. Let's go to overtime. Let's get it going. And let's go to overtime. If you do that, you probably end up beating Dallas in overtime, possibly, maybe, who knows. And you probably will outright have the number 2 seed. Again, you got so many times that you missed it, and you kept on getting the play. You kept on getting the redo at it. And you still was too hard-headed and went up there and went for the extra point. Then, once again, Dallas falls against the Green Bay Packers, so you got the number 2 seed by default now. Even though you're the number 3 seed, you luckily got the number 2 seed by default because the real number 2 seed loses at home to Green Bay. They fall on their face. So you got everything back in your favor. You're up 24-7. You made a mistake and didn't go for it on 4th down. And you get a redo. You get an absolute redo once again. And what do? You squander it one more time. You literally peed down your leg all game in the second half. In the second half, you peed down your leg the whole entire second half, and you allow the 49ers to get to their second Super Bowl in 3 years, or 4 years. I mean, however long it's been, since 2019. So you're 4 years. The second Super Bowl in 4 years. You allow the 49ers to get to their second Super Bowl in 4 years. Kyle Shanahan has been to two Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks in the last 4 years. That's what you allowed to happen when you supposed to be going to the very first Super Bowl in franchise history, and then have the nerve and the audacity to tell his team and tell the media, we told his team, I'm gonna be honest with you, I told the guys that this might be it for them. Like, these opportunities don't come once in a lifetime opportunities. They don't come on. You probably won't ever make it back to this point. You think? Especially with you being the head coach, of course you're not going to make it back. And the sad thing about it, he actually telling the truth. Because, I'm pretty sure the Dolphins with Dan Marino, when they went to Super Bowl and lost, I'm pretty sure that they felt, man, we about to make it to a whole bunch of Super Bowls. Never made it to another one. The last time the Detroit Lions were in this situation, was it 91, 92 with Barry Sanders? We got the best run back in the league. We're not going to make it here. Jacksonville probably felt the same way in 2017. The Titans probably felt the same way in 2018, 19. Like, we've seen this. We've seen teams get this far to the NFC Championship, AFC Championship game, and then look at the Buffalo Bills right now. 3 years ago, they made it to the AFC Championship game and lost to the Chiefs. Now they can't get past not only Patrick Mahomes, they can't even get past Joe Burrow in the playoffs. So we've seen this happen before. We've seen, and again, had everything in front of them. But we seen that with the Bills this year. Number 2 seed, the Kansas City had to come to them, and we still seen what happened. You seen what happened with this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions don't make it this far again. It would not shock me or surprise me. But you have the audacity to say that when it's your fault that they're not going to make it past this far this season. And again, and they owner is better than me, because now I have to start giving blame on the owner because he's better than me. There's no way that Dan Campbell should have been the head coach of that. I don't care. It's a knee-jerk reaction. You being hyperbolic. No. That's the case if you have a good team and if you don't got nobody else in your coaching staff and all the hot coaching candidates, all the real good coaching candidates like the Harbaughs and the Mike Tomlin. Even though Mike Tomlin is still Mike Tomlin never was a free agent, but Mike Tomlin's name was floated out there depending on what Pittsburgh was going to do. But the Harbaughs, those guys, everybody's off the books. But last time I checked, Vrabel's still out there. Vrabel's still out there. Bill Belichick's still out there, even though I have my reservations about Bill Belichick outside of New England and the Tom Brady system, especially this. I really think that this the day and age in 2024, 25, 26, and going forward that Bill Belichick game has started to pass him by. But when you sit here and look at stuff like that, you still got Coach K, like I said, you still got Vrabel, stuff like that. Now, not to mention the hottest coaching candidate is already on your coaching staff, and he's about to leave. Because I don't see Dan Campbell once Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, because they both probably going to end up leaving. Aaron Glenn probably is going to Seattle, and Ben Johnson more than likely is going to Washington. Both of them leaving. Dan Campbell's not doing anything for it. So my thing is this: if I'm the Detroit Lions, I'm not letting. If I'm the Detroit Lions owner, I would not be letting Ben Johnson out my sights. I would walk down. Hey, Ben, let me holler at you. Let me holler at you, bro. Hey, I know you got interviews going to Washington, more likely going to Washington. You're not taking that Washington job. This is yours. If you want it, I'm letting you know this right now. That's what I'm talking to me. If you want it, right now. I know I gotta go through the whole formalities. I gotta do the Rooney rules and interview black coaches and stuff like that. I know I gotta do all that. Bro, this is your job. This is your job. This right here is this is your job. This right here is your job. I cannot move forward with a guy who's doing this because I seen what he just did in the biggest moments. We talk about quarterbacks all the time. We talk about the Kirk Cousins and the Dak Prescotts and all the other quarterbacks who are good in the regular season. The Lamar Jackson, don't worry. Look, I'm about to get on Lamar Jackson. Don't worry. I got to talk about the AFC side too. And the Josh Allens and we talk about all those guys. Dan Campbell's in the same boat. Just from a coaching standpoint, when the moment gets too big, palms start getting sweaty. Starts choking a little bit. I need some air. I need a glass of water. That's what started to happen. That's exactly what started to happen. And you seen it. In the second half, he completely wet the bed and peed down his leg. You were up 24-7 at halftime. You're up 24-7 at halftime. In my opinion, this is worse than the 24-0 lead against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Texans blew. You know why? Because they blew it in the second quarter. By halftime, the Texans were already down. Bro, you were less than 2 halves of football away because it was midway through the third quarter. You had everything in front of you. Bro. And because also in that Kansas City game with the Texans, Pat and Travis Kelce, they didn't get to start cooking yet. It was a missed turnover and stuff. It was some other punt returns things. It was other things that was going on in that game that the Chiefs ain't start cooking. Once the Chiefs started cooking, they started cooking. You were legitimately stopping the 49ers. They were getting stopped, and they couldn't stop you. They couldn't stop the running game. You allow Christian McCaffrey in the running game to get back in it. You're up 24-7. Their running game is non-existent. They can't just run the football the way they want to. We see it here in Houston. When the Texans were down against Baltimore, we could not run the football. You couldn't run the football anymore. You take that out of the game. That's what you were doing. And you completely wet the bed. All you had to do was kick a field goal. I don't understand what was the problem. It wasn't like it was 4th and 1. Because we talked about with Deshaun Watson and the 24-0 lead against the Chiefs. We was up 21-0, and we was 4th and 1. We could win forward. We decided to kick the field goal. And a lot of Texas fans are mad about that. That's different because it was 4th and 1, and you called a timeout. You called a timeout like you were about to go for it, and then you end up changing your mind on the fly. That was a little bit different. Plus, you also had one. You had back then who we thought was a dog that we had one of them dudes at quarterback with Deshaun Watson that we can get us 1 yard. That was a little bit different type of situation. This right here going forward hurts you. And like Shan Sharp always says, you pay double for turnovers in the playoffs. You also play double for bad decisions. And that was a bad decision. And the thing is, you got another idea, you got another chance to do it, and you did it again. You completely did it again. That's stupid and idiotic, and I cannot go forward with you. And if I'm on that team, if I'm on that Lions team, you've lost the locker room the moment that you do what you just did. And then come up here and tell me straight in my face that, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, we might not make it this far again. This might be the only time in your career you get this far. And you squandered it. You squandered it. It wasn't though the 49ers had Fury come back, we turned the football all over, things like that. It wasn't that. It wasn't we went for the field goal got blocked, and then they started making a comeback. It wasn't like we kicked the field goal, and then they started making a comeback, and they were it wasn't none of that. You tried to be too cute, and it cost you twice. Which means, like I said, you paid double in the playoffs, which means it cost you 4 times. You wasted 6 points on the board, and you gave them good field position twice. You lost by 3, you left 6 points on the board. Tell me how that math works. Tell me how that math. You left 6 points on the board, and you lost by 3. Tell me how that math works. It don't work, do it? It don't work. And again, I'm not a Lions fan. I was rooting for the Lions. Originally, I was like, man, no way. The Texans, the Lions, the Browns, the Jags, they're the only teams that haven't made the Super Bowl. Until the Texans off that list, I hope that nobody's on the list. That's why I said to myself earlier last week. As the week started going along, I actually was, you know what? I want the Lions to do it. I want the Lions to go to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? That's good for their fans, man. I mean, they've been suffering for a long time because us Texas fans, we be feeling like we've been suffering when we really only had a bad 3 years. Because in 2019, we thought we were gonna make it to the AFC Championship game. We won 9 straight games in 2018. In 2017, we were right here before Deshaun Watson got hurt. 16, we was in the playoffs, was competitive. 15, we don't know what the quarterbacks going everywhere. We was competitive. 14, we missed the playoffs, but we were competitive. Now 13 was a bad year. But 12 and 11, we was still, and then before then, we was more so mediocre, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, up into the early years. I know up into the early years, and that's really what makes our complete record bad, because we do have 2 seasons where we've only won 2 games, and then the last recent memory for the last 3 years, we won 4, 4, and 3. So that what makes us being a losing franchise. Not to mention what we did our first 3, 4 years of our franchise. So you do got those aspects in it for the complete team record. But when you talk about suffering, the Texans we've been more so mediocre. Like we haven't really been bad. Now we've had some bad seasons, the 2-14 season, but we, for the most part, if you want to sit back and think of it objectively and actually look, we've really been more so mediocre. And I'll take that. We've been more so mediocre. But of recent memory, we've been winning the division, and normally when we get to the playoffs outside of 2015 and 2018, we won a playoff game. We won the division 7 times, been to the playoffs 7 times. Only twice we did not win a playoff game. We've won 5 playoff games in that span. So we've won a playoff game in 5 of the 7 years that we've been to the playoffs, and we've been to the playoffs 7 times since 2011. So we've been, like I say, more so mediocre. But in recent memory, we really been actually good. Now I know the last 2 years we're standing, that's really been really been a tough one to watch, but we really been mediocre. That's what so you look at what Detroit ain't won a playoff game since '91, ain't been this far since '91. That's before the Texans even existed. So they've been suffering since before the Texans was even the franchise. We talk about we wasted Andre Johnson and we wasted J.J. Watt. They wasted the greatest running back of all time in Barry Sanders. You know what I'm saying? They've wasted Megatron and stuff like that. So we've wasted people, they probably feel the same way that they've wasted players as well. They wasted players as well. We had to deal with Peyton Manning in our division, Andrew Luck. They've had to deal with Aaron Rodgers and had to deal with Brett Favre in their division. That's what they had to deal with. They see everybody except the Vikings win Super Bowls in their division, or at least go. When they see everybody win one, but they see everybody go to the Super Bowl. They ain't seen the Packers go to 3 Super Bowls, because Favre went to 2 and Aaron Rodgers went to 1 in that span. They seen the Bears go to a Super Bowl and lose. They seen both the Bears and the Packers both be in the conference championship game together. Think about that. We would be watching if we was watching the Titans and the Jags in the conference championship game. Think about how that make us feel. Like that's what Detroit has watched. So Detroit has been the same boat the Texans been, but even worse in a longer period of time. So I was hoping that they would get off, get off of maybe and actually make it to an actual Super Bowl championship, and they should have. But they coach completely squandered it. And again, they have an actual good coach, two good coaches, really, two hot coach candidates, the hottest coaching candidate outside Harbaugh on their roster right now, and he's about to go for another job tomorrow if he gets the job. I'm not letting him off my sights. I feel like they should never let him out that building. He should have never let him out that building. They should get rid of Dan Campbell. I don't care that it's knee-jerk. I don't care about none of that. They should not allow Dan Campbell to get off. They should not allow Dan Campbell to coach another snap of football for the Detroit Lions. And he's a former player. He's a former Detroit Lion player. He knows how that franchise feels. He knows how that fan base feels. No. And they let him completely off the hook. They let him completely off the hook. Bro. They let him off the hook. Completely let him off the hook. Somebody else that let him off the hook. Lamar Jackson. They let Lamar Jackson off the hook too. They completely let Lamar Jackson completely off the hook. The Kansas City Chiefs won 17-10. Lamar Jackson playoff record now is with 2-4 now. Playoff record is now 2-4. Hate that he got his one win against the Texans, but playoff Lamar pulled up. He pulled up, and again, the blueprint was simple. Like I said before, the blueprint is simple. Like I said before, all you got to do with the Baltimore Ravens is get the lead on the Baltimore Ravens, and you completely take Lamar Jackson out of the game. The Chiefs went up 14, was it 14-7? Because it went up 7-0, 14-7, 17-7. Once they was up 17-7, again, like I say, palms start getting itchy. You start getting a little thirsty. You don't get the scratches. I need some air. Palms start getting, and then the mistakes start happening. Again, Lamar Jackson, 20 of 37 for 54%, 272 yards, one touchdown, one interception, rushed the ball for 54 yards. A week ago, he had 100 yards against us. He had 100 yards rushing and 150 yards throwing. Again, Lamar Jackson, you gotta look at Lamar Jackson differently than other quarterbacks. When his passing numbers is high, more than likely it's a better chance that they're losing. If his rushing numbers are high, more than likely it's a better chance of them winning. That's what's kind of weird, because the one loss against the Tennessee Titans, he had 300 yards passing, he had 100 and some yards rushing. And all three playoff games, he's rushed for over 100 yards. He's only rushed for 100 yards 3 playoff games. Both of them against the Titans, the other one was last week against the Texans. He's 2-1 in no sequence. His first playoff win, I think he had like 150 yards rushing. Against us, he had 100 yards rushing, and then he had 140 yards rushing in the loss in 2019. He also had 300 yards passing. He also had 2 turnovers in that game. He threw 2 interceptions. He had no turnovers in our game. Our game was the only playoff game he didn't have a turnover, because even the one playoff game he won before us, he actually had an interception in that game. But no touchdowns. No rushing touchdowns. No rushing touchdowns. 1 passing touchdowns, interception, and a fumble. Lost fumble. Turned the football over twice, only put up 1 point. In both of his playoff wins, he has a rushing touchdown. If he has 100 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown, more than likely he wins the playoff game. If I'm not mistaken, actually, I think he's won a playoff game in both the 2 playoff games he's won is the only time he scored a rushing touchdown. Other than that, he's turned the football over, and he can't get 100 yards rushing, and he doesn't get a rushing touchdown. And again, you take that away if you take away the lead. If you give them a lead, the Texans were in danger last week at halftime when the game was tied 10-10. I know we was feeling good. We felt like we was in the mix. But also while we was in the mix, same thing with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. They were in the mix. You had to jump out to a lead. I said we need to get a 10-0 lead, a 17-3 lead, 14-3 lead, something like that. You need a lead to that magnitude, because if you got, like I said, it's 14-3, 10-0, 17-3, something like that. You're in the mix Because now what you're doing is now he has to start padding the football. He can't sit there and run around and dance and do all this type of stuff. He has to try to push the ball downfield. And if he has to push the ball downfield, it's not going to work. That's not in his game. His game is to spread you out, to cut them running lanes, to make you start coming down. And then when you start coming down, now he has easy passing lanes. Now he can easily dump up because now you coming down rushing trying to stop him because you worry about him doing Lamar Jackson stuff. Now I can hit Mark Andrews over here. I can do this. I can throw. I can do other things. Now you allow things to happen. Yeah, you talking about wide receiver couldn't get open, bro. I understand that, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Defensively, we actually did our job in the first half. The problem was we wasn't able to capitalize offensively. I've been said that. I said that last week after the game, and I said it last week in my when I broke down the season. That was really the problem. Offensively, we couldn't do anything going. We only got in scoring position twice. 2 possessions that we was in scoring position, we ended up with 3 points because Fairbairn missed 1 field goal and we kicked and we made the other field goal. So we was only in scoring position twice throughout the whole game offensively. We only walked away with 3 points because of the 7 points that we got came off the punt return. I understand that. So the thing is when you talk about it, when you look at it from that standpoint, and when you think about exactly what really happened, what really go on. If you keep a lead on Lamar Jackson, you keep Lamar Jackson's legs from running around, and you keep him using his legs, his most dangerous weapon, and have him rely on his arm. And he's not going to be able to sit up there with the Patrick Mahomes, with the Joe Burrows, with the Josh Allens, and I believe with the C.J. Strouds and quarterbacks like that. He's not going to be able to sit there toe to toe and beat them with his arm consistently because he's going to make mistakes. Every game except the Texans game, he has some form of turnover, interception, or fumble. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And again, that what happened again last night against the Kansas City Chiefs. So we got to talk about. We got to sit there and look at that Lamar Jackson is going to be a 2-time league MVP. And I believe if he would have beat Patrick Mahomes and got himself into the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, that he would start putting himself inside that conversation, 2 league MVPs. Now he's only a Super Bowl away from Patrick Mahomes and would have beaten Patrick Mahomes head to head. Now because Pat has completely distanced himself. I said this like when we were talking about quarterbacks in the middle of the season when we were talking about C.J. Stroud that I was talking about top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Pat is so far and clear of everybody else. Only one person's ahead of him. He's only looking at one person, and that's Tom Edward Brady. That's the only That's the only person that he's looking at. He's looking at Tom Brady. That's the only person that he's looking at. He doesn't. Everybody because everybody else he's beaten on his resume. He has 2 MVPs. The only person who's gonna have that is Lamar Jackson. He has 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Nobody has that. Possibly, potentially have a 3rd. No one's even gonna be close to that. He can't. He's undefeated. He's 3-0 against Josh Allen in the playoffs. Burrow, he's beaten back. Burrow, they went 1 for 1, but he's beaten Burrow, and now he's beating Lamar Jackson as well. He's beaten everybody. He's beaten all his contemporaries. Everybody's in the same boat, the same era, everything with him. He's already beaten them, and he also has all the hardware. He has 2 Super Bowl rings and 2 MVPs. 2 Super Bowl MVPs on top of that, and potentially about to get a 3rd Super Bowl MVP and Super Bowl trophy. To add right there with the Super Bowls. Ain't nobody else catching him, bro. Ain't nobody else catching him. Not in this pool. Now in this pool, I see what you're saying, CJ. Hey, CJ's on this rookie year. More than likely, CJ. More likely, since CJ is in the pool, more likely since CJ is in the pool, and we see him in his rookie year, CJ has a chance and the opportunity to catch him. But hey, Pat is a long distance away. He's a long distance phone call away. With 1-800 collect back in the day, you got to use 1-800 collect to call Patrick Mahomes. That's how far he is. You're gonna use all your anytime minutes to get Patrick Mahomes. That's how far he is. That's exactly how far he is. You gotta use 1-800 collect to call him. That's how far distance he is away from everybody else. That's how long distance he is away, especially if he asks the 3rd. Even if the 49ers win. Which I know, I think the Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to win. But even if the 49ers do win, he's still hand clear everybody else. Only person going to have a Super Bowl trophy is Brock Purdy. That's the only one. But if he gets that third, you gotta get 3 just to get into the conversation, and then you gotta get the MVPs. Now, the one thing that CJ will possibly have that the only person who got this for themselves is Justin Herbert, but Justin Herbert can't win a playoff game. Is that CJ more likely is going to win Rookie of the Year? So now CJ wins Rookie of the Year, and now say CJ next year gets an MVP trophy and a Super Bowl trophy. Next year, we just hypothetically speaking, next year CJ gets an MVP and a Super Bowl. So now he's sitting up with an MVP and a Super Bowl and Rookie of the Year. Now, if he starts getting some of them same trophies like Patrick Mahomes got around that same number, now he got an extra trophy to pull out that Pat didn't get. Now again, Pat didn't get because he ain't play his rookie year. Oh well, too sad. Joe Burrow didn't get it because he got hurt. Sorry, I mean I believe Joe Burrow should have won Rookie of the Year back in 2020, but he did get hurt. But I do believe that Joe Burrow should have won Rookie of the Year because I thought he was on trajectory to win Rookie of the Year. And same thing with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson didn't win Rookie. I think Baker Mayfield won Rookie of the Year. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen's Rookie year. I think Baker Mayfield, if I'm not mistaken, ended up winning Rookie year. So neither one of those guys. So again, that's something that C.J. Stroud more than likely would have and should have. And so those are other accolades. Again, I feel like those things are very small and minute, but even though they might be small and minute, those are still things that are conversational pieces. And like I said, I think Pat is clear above everybody else. The only person right now he's chasing, is Tom Brady. I feel like going to the season, in my personal opinion, that Patrick Mahomes I felt like he was third. As it stood right now, I felt like he was third all time. Tom Brady obviously number 1. I feel like he was third all the time, and I feel like all he needed was one more championship to be number 2. One more championship to be number 2. That's going into the season. I feel like he was eventually going to get that third championship. Didn't know when he was going to get it, but I feel like eventually he would. I didn't think he was going to get this shit because, like I said, all season, I thought that the Chiefs were going to lose the first playoff game. And again, I still believe that the reason why they did not lose the first playoff game is because they got the best possible matchup they possibly could have gotten by getting the Miami Dolphins at home. That's what they drew they didn't draw the short end of the stick. I thought the Texans drew the short end of the stick by having to go up to Baltimore because we just didn't match up well against Baltimore. They didn't draw the short end of the sticks. They was able to get the best possible matchup for them. They got a fast, finesse team that was hobbling and injured and got them in those cold winter conditions. And again, this was the best opportunity for both the Bills, and Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson to beat Patrick Mahomes. But I was saying this all week, that the Kansas City Chiefs actually benefited this time from not having home field advantage because of the weather conditions. Because from last time I checked, I think it's real bad out there in Missouri right now. It's a bad weather storm, especially last week. So if they would have been playing in Kansas City, the weather conditions in Baltimore and in Buffalo were better than they were in Kansas City, Missouri for the last 2 weeks. So they actually did them a favor by going to Buffalo and going to Baltimore. I know some people think like, man, it actually probably benefited them from being at home. Not this version of Kansas City. Not this version of Kansas City. This version of Kansas City benefited from them being over there. And I think if they would have played Cleveland instead of playing Miami, if they were playing Cleveland instead of Miami, or say Buffalo didn't win their division, and Buffalo ended up being the seed going to Kansas City in those bad weather conditions, I think that possibly Buffalo might have been able to beat Kansas City in those conditions because they were able to run the football and able to minimize Patrick Mahomes. Now you do got Josh Allen turning the football over, so you never know. And the same thing with Cleveland. I know Joe Flacco, the same thing, turned the football over as well. But Cleveland had a good defense at home, and the reason why their defense was good at home was because of the weather conditions out there in Cleveland. That's the reason why when they go on the road, especially when they play in controlled climates, when it's hot, when it's sunny, inside NRG Stadium, things like that, their defense gave up 30 points. That's what their defense did outside of playing in Cleveland on the side of Lake Erie. So I feel like you put that Cleveland defense in those frigid weather conditions inside Kansas City, I feel like Cleveland at the very least would have had a better chance of beating the Kansas City Chiefs than that fast-paced finesse Miami Dolphins did. And that's the reason and it's really just the Kansas City Chiefs just really drew they didn't draw the sword and stick. They got a very, very favorable matchup from top to bottom, from their first playoff game all the way to the AFC Championship game and where it was played. They got the best favorable matchup for them. And like I said, you just live in the Patrick Mahomes era, and Patrick Mahomes is about to completely. I mean, I feel like he's already distanced himself. He's even distanced himself even more. And like I said, I think he will submit. I think he will submit himself 2 weeks from now in the Super Bowl to being the second best quarterback of all time behind Tom Brady. Be Tom Brady, him, Joe Montana, probably Peyton Manning and John Elway. How you feel? Me, Aaron Rodgers. Shame Aaron Rodgers could never even sniff this conversation because he only made to one Super Bowl in his career. Now, Aaron Rodgers, when you want to talk about from a talent standpoint, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes are probably the two most talented quarterbacks that have ever played football. Because if you put a quarterback, if you on Madden, you design the career player, you design somebody in the lab from a quarterback standpoint. Before we seen what Patrick Mahomes was, you designing Aaron Rodgers, and actually you still might design Aaron Rodgers because even though Patrick Mahomes doesn't turn the football over a lot, he does turn the football over way more than Aaron Rodgers does. And you hit up way more than Aaron Rodgers was, so you might even put that slight edge with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers crazy has with like seasons with 43 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Like literally he that's the reason why he got 4 MVPs because he has seasons where he only has like 2 interceptions, 3 interceptions, 4 interceptions type seasons. So that's the type of player Aaron Rodgers was. But that's really what happens. And that's really what happens in this kind of crazy. Like I said, I know a lot of people. I see a lot of y'all putting in CJ gonna catch Mahomes. I would love to see it, but we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work now. The good thing about the Texans, we only in year 1 of CJ, and we didn't get to see Mahomes. And Mahomes MVP year wasn't to Mahomes' second year. Lamar Jackson MVP year wasn't to his second year. Joe Burrow did make the Super Bowl. His Super Bowl appearance won to his second year. Tom Brady, his first Super Bowl, I think was his second year, if I'm not mistaken. So same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. His Super Bowl was in his second year. So we've seen other guys when they start. Russell Wilson Super Bowl and then back to Super Bowl was his second and third year. So from judging from other guys. Like from the Mahomes, even though it was Mahomes' only first year starting, but it still was his second year. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, like I said, Russell Wilson, even Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, it wasn't his second year, but it was his second year as a starter when we went to the Super Bowl and won. Judging by other guys. CJ Stroud is ahead of all of them in his rookie year. Like even the ones who play, he's above all of them from the way he played his rookie year. Because none of those guys outside Ben Roethlisberger went to the playoffs as a rookie and won a playoff game. And even with Ben Roethlisberger wasn't the driving factor of that team. I know he went 13-0 and went to an AFC Championship game. He went 1-1 the playoffs just like CJ did. But CJ did more as catering the team than Ben Roethlisberger did his rookie year. So you got to put those things into the factors. You got to put those things on there and show exactly, okay, that's also kind of a difference as well. There's something else that he was doing. So it wasn't just this, that, and the third when it comes to those guys. But you got to put that, like I said, into perspective and put that out there as well. But so judging by the history of what everybody else is going on, what everybody else is doing, all those other things, that CJ Stroud more than likely should be in the conversation of an MVP and or a Super Bowl championship next year. That's how the trajectory is going. If you completely look at the trajectory of everybody else, like I said, the Joe of all the good quarterbacks. Oh, even Dan Marino. Dan Marino won the MVP. Broke the passing yard, the MVP passing yard and passing touchdown record, the very first 5,000 yard season, and went to the Super Bowl his second year. Now they lost in the Super Bowl, but he won the MVP and went to the Super Bowl that year. Joe Burrow, comeback player of the year, went to the MVP and went to the Super Bowl his rookie year. Both, like I say, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, they second year won the MVP. Tom Brady went to the Super Bowl his second year, won Super Bowl. Russell Wilson and Ben Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl their second year. So by those trajectories of all those guys, and I feel like CJ is in that same vein. It's not a Baker Mayfield. It's not none of those same type of situations of those other guys, of those guys. It's more so the guys I just named, those upper echelon guys. Like I say, even though it wasn't his second year, it was his second year as a starter that Aaron Rodgers went to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl as a Green Bay Packer. Judging by those trajectories of everybody else, that we're talking about that CJ Stroud is going to be in the mix for a Super Bowl, an MVP. He's going to be MVP Super Bowl caliber next year, just by those type of things. Ben didn't win his rookie year. They lost in the AFC Championship game to the Patriots. Patriots won. Ben Roethlisberger rookie year. The Patriots beat the Eagles, and the Patriots beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. He won his rookie year. He won the Super Bowl the following year in Detroit versus the Seahawks. He won his second year, won his rookie year. There's never been a rookie to win a conference championship game. We've seen 3 rookies go to a conference championship game, and they all 4. Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco. Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, and last year Brock Purdy. Those are the only 4 rookies that's made it to a conference championship game, and they all lost in the conference championship game. And you can even throw Brock Purdy in there as far as going to a Super Bowl in the second year. So by the trajectory of everybody, what's going on, CJ's gonna be in that mix of winning an MVP or winning and going to a Super Bowl in the second year. He goes right into that wave when we talk about the greatness. And again, also, like I said before, like I said before, and I've been saying this a lot, especially when we traded Deshaun Watson. I say if you think about it in hindsight, it might be a good thing that we moved on from Deshaun Watson. This is before we even got CJ Stroud. Name me a quarterback that has won a Heisman and or an MVP, or won a Heisman and or a national championship. Won a Heisman and or a national championship and was the starting quarterback to a Super Bowl. Name me a quarterback that won a Heisman or was a starter on a national championship and also was a starter on MVP. I don't care about no rookie. I don't care about no backups. I'm pretty sure it's a backup quarterback somewhere. There's a backup of a national championship team and a backup of a Super Bowl championship team, or won a Heisman, was a backup of a Super Bowl champion team, or was, was a backup on a national championship team and ended up winning the Super Bowl. So I don't care about no backups. I'm talking about a guy who was a full-fledged starter. He won a Heisman and was a starter of a national championship team that turned around, got to the NFL, and won the Super Bowl. I think the last one is Roger Staubach. I think Roger Staubach is the last one to do this thing, because I think Roger Staubach has a Heisman, and I think he has a national championship too. But that's also back in the day when they was voting national champions and not actual national champions going in and selling on the field like we seen in recent memory. The closest two we seen was Cam and Joe Burrow. Now Cam has an MVP. And went to the Super Bowl and lost. Joe Burrow don't have no MVP, but Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl and lost. And both Joe Burrow and Cam both not only have national championships, they both have Heismans as well. They have Heismans and national championships, and they both went to the Super Bowl, but they lost. Like I say, Deshaun Watson don't have a Heisman Trophy, but he has a national championship. Lamar Jackson don't have a national championship, but he also has Heisman trophies. Like, it doesn't have, so it's kind of a good thing that CJ's never didn't get a chance to win the Heisman. And also it was a good thing that CJ, I'm glad he played well against Georgia, but it's a good thing that he lost and that caused a football playoff last year, because now he don't have that stigma on him. Again, it's just something that I thought about. There's really no real barriers. It's really like not like a rule or anything like that. It just happens. Like, guys who win national championships and also win Heisman trophies don't go to the NFL and win the Super Bowl as a starter. They just don't. Like I say, the two closest is Cam and Joe Burrow. Those are the two closest, because they did both. They won an MVP, they won a national champion, and they won a Heisman. and they both made it to the Super Bowl, but they didn't get past that. Now Lamar Jackson won the Heisman, won the MVP, but he hasn't won the Super Bowl and never even made it to the Super Bowl. So, like I was saying about that wave of the MVPs and Super Bowls and stuff like that, CJ don't have the Heisman Trophy and don't have the national championship weighing him down, so he can easily flow in line with the Russell Wilsons and the Russell Wilsons and the Ben Roethlisbergers. Again, he did more for the team as a rookie than both those teams, so he can easily flow into that mix and give him a Super Bowl championship. He can easily flow into that mix. He can easily flow into that mix. And like I said, you're gonna see a lot of people picking the Texans and the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, this whole Spider-Man meme. You're gonna see a lot of that happening. You're going to see a lot of that happening throughout the summer, throughout the break. You're going to see a lot of that going around, a lot of that point and all those type of things like that. You're going to see a lot of that going on. You're going to see a lot of that going on. Just like I said, a lot of people in here, but the lights ain't going on, man. Make sure you hit that like button, man. Man, I know the season's over. I know I'm probably talking about some stuff that y'all probably want to talk about. I'm talking about what happened in the championship games yesterday. But, man, make sure you hit that like button, man. It's very, very key for the algorithm. Because, hey, just because the season's over don't mean the content stopping. I'm still going live on Wednesday. We're still going to do a breakdown Wednesday. We're going to talk more about the Texans on Wednesday for sure. But, hey, make sure you hit that like button, man. Make sure y'all come in here and make sure you hit that like button. Now, don't be skimpy on the like button now. Make sure you're hitting it now. Make sure you're hitting the like button now. Make sure you're hitting it now. But, I just really had to talk about that because I seen a lot of stuff today, a lot of stuff that frustrated me, mostly about the Dan Campbell, because that completely irritated me. And like I said, if I was a Detroit fan, I would be sick. Just like how I was mad back in 2019 when Bill O'Brien didn't get fired after Luke choking the 24-0 lead. I felt the same way. I'm not even a Lions fan. Like I'm like, dog, when I'm getting this notification that Dan Campbell been relieved of coaching duties, bro. Cause they will be completely stupid and they will rule the day. They will rule the day that they don't get rid of Dan Campbell and they let both Ben Johnson and potentially also Aaron Glenn out of their sights. And they're probably both going in with the only two teams that's left are NFC teams. The Seattle Seahawks and the Washington what's the Washington team name? The Commanders, the Washington Commanders, which is a horrible name by the way. Which is a horrible name by the way. And especially if Ben Johnson goes to Washington. Ben Johnson goes to Washington. Washington got the number 2 pick in the draft, and Washington go and get like a Jay McDaniels or a Drake May or something like that, or man, listen here. Man, Washington gonna be scary in the next like 2-3 years. Washington gonna be a team. Cause I feel like eventually Dallas gonna end up blowing it up. You could talked about the Eagles blowing it up now. Like you got the Eagles. You got people talking about the Eagles blowing them now. Talking about getting rid of Jalen Hurts. Talking about firing Sirianni and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles. I wouldn't be surprised within the next two. I wouldn't be surprised in the next 2 or 3 years if Washington if Washington hires Ben Johnson and they go out there and they draft Drake May. I'm not even advocating for Drake May because I really haven't watched a lot of Drake May, but they draft Drake May or Josh McDaniels and those guys actually hit like whoever they draft at number 2 is an actual good viable quarterback. That both Dallas and both Dallas and the Eagles blow up what they got going. Like they end up blowing up because I don't feel like Dallas, especially with Mike McCarthy being the head coach, I don't think Dallas is ever going to get past the first round of the playoffs. They might win a wild card game depending on their opponent. I don't see them getting past the divisional round or getting past a NFC championship game. So they're going to blow I see like eventually they're going to end up blowing it up because again with the money that Dak is going to be having again it's going to be too cost effective and they're going to end up blowing it up. And the Eagles, I feel like the Eagles feel like they caught lightning in the bottle last year by making it to the Super Bowl and they don't feel like they're going to catch that again. And I can see the Eagles blowing it up again. Remember the Eagles have made the 2 Super Bowls in a 5-year span with 2 completely different regimes. 2 different head coaches, general managers, quarterback, and receivers, and weapons. Period. That's how quickly the Philadelphia Eagles have moved on from their Super Bowl championship back in 2017 to their Super Bowl run last year in 2022. So I can see them the same way blowing that up. And then the Giants are just that, just the Giants, especially if they more likely they're gonna be losing Saquon. A lot of people thinking Saquon coming to the Texans. We can talk about that. We can talk about that as well. But I could see Washington being a very good. Washington definitely, definitely, if they can get the quarterback right and if Ben Johnson goes, they could definitely be a very very good team in that division within the next 2 to 3 years, depending on what goes on and what goes on with the rest of the NFCs. Because I do think the rest of the NFCs eventually going to end up blowing itself up. As far as like they're gonna be tired and they're gonna keep running their head through the wall and they feel like they gotta do something drastic to get over the hump, and they're going to make the wrong, uncalculated decision and end up blowing up both those rosters and the Eagles and the Cowboys, and it's not going to last. And I think for the last like 10 years, no team in the NFC East has won the division back to back. In the last 10 years, like in the last 10 years, no team in the NFC has won division back to back, and in the NFC East has won the division back to back. So you also got to put that out there as well. So you just never really know when it comes to the NFC East. And then I mean Washington, I mean with like the Seattle Seahawks, at Washington Seahawks, the Seattle Seahawks. I mean you do got the 49ers, you got the Rams, you got the Cardinals. So that might be a little bit more tougher ask to ask as far as getting them better, because the division around them is going to be a tough division to get out of. But again, same thing with the Lions. Like the Lions, hey, Jordan Love and the Packers, they coming. Like just like how I feel like the NFL in total is looking over here looking over at Texas like hey, that kid down there in Houston, that might be a problem. That's a problem. The NFC, I don't think the AFC, because the AFC got so many quarterbacks in the AFC, it's ridiculous. But the NFC, they looking at Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they like, yeah, that's an issue. That's an issue. Because Jordan Love, I feel like next year is clearly going to be the best quarterback in that conference. So he was second in the NFL in touchdowns. Like, the best quarterback in the conference is Dak Prescott right now. I feel like Jordan Love has just went inside his house and hung up with like 40-some points on him. Like went inside his house in a playoff game and hung up over 40 points on him. So yeah, I feel like Jordan Love next year is going to be the best quarterback in the NFC. Is he going to be a top 5 quarterback? Who knows? It remains to be seen if he's going to put himself into the conversation and be a top 5 quarterback. He possibly can. But I do, especially because I mean he was second in the league in touchdowns this year. If he gets back to that if he's like top 3 in touchdowns, that's 2 years back to back with being in the top echelon of the league in touchdowns, and depending on what he does with turnovers and also what type of yards he has, he probably would be the top quarterback in the NFC and probably would be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. But I feel like when you look into that situation and when you think about that, you got him being the problem in Green Bay. If Minnesota gets a quarterback, the only reason why Minnesota didn't make the playoffs is because Kirk Cousins and Jamar Chase got hurt. Not Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson got hurt. And again, even without Justin Jefferson getting hurt, I feel like if Kirk Cousins is healthy, they probably still make the playoffs. So you still got them if they either keep Kirk Cousins and he stays healthy, or if they get a Russell Wilson or something like that with the weapons they have with Jordan Addison and also Jamar Chase. I'm gonna keep saying Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Minnesota's gonna be a problem. Who knows what Chicago does if they go out there and get Caleb Williams? If Caleb Williams is what people think he's going to be. With all those type of things going, and with all those type of things going and swirling around, it's gonna be hard for Detroit Lions to make the playoffs. That's the reason why, if I'm the Detroit Lions owner, I'm getting rid of Dan Campbell, because I look at that, I look at the opportunity that you squandered, I look at how you're the reason why the opportunity got squandered specifically, and also this is what I think is actually the most important thing of the whole equation, because all those things can be true. You can squander the opportunity, the rest of the division getting better, but if your coaches on your coaching staff were not head coach material, if your offensive defensive coordinators were not hot coaching candidates, and you're not farm system and all those type of things like that, I'm not getting rid of Dan Campbell. I'm like, man, it's messed up. It's messed up. It's not good. But hey, we might need to keep what we got. We might need to keep what we got. Because we got this far. We ain't been this far in 30 some years or 30 years. Hey, we gotta keep going. But when I look and see that, and I see how we got and how we squandered opportunities, I'm looking, I see that my offensive coordinator and both defensive coordinators more than likely are going to leave. And my offensive coordinator is the hottest coaching candidate. He was hot coaching candidate last year, but he decided to stay. And now he is the hottest coaching candidate. And if I was searching for a head coach, he would be the first person I'd be calling. Yeah. And he's on, and he's in my building right now. I'm not letting him out my sights. And to be honest, even if they did let go of Dan Campbell, I mean, you still got Pete Carroll out there, and you also got Mike Vrabel out there. So I mean, you actually got other coaching candidates to actually decide to hire that I think probably is a better fit than Dan Campbell, because when you look at Dan Campbell, really, what does Dan Campbell provide? He provides a guy who's howling and screaming at the field. That's what he's providing. He's a guy that's howling and screaming and yelling at the field, and he's not doing anything of note as far as outside costing your team. Because again, in the regular season, you going for you going for 2-point conversions, and you going for on fourth down. It's all fun and fast paced until it starts costing you. Like Shannon Sharp said, turnovers, you pay double in the playoffs. Mistakes like that, mixed extra points, missed field goals, not going for field goals, all those type of things, turnovers, you pay double for that. I feel like you paid double for that missed field goal that Fairbairn had against that missed field goal that Fairbairn had against the Ravens. I feel like if you get that field goal coming out of the second half, even if Lamar Jackson does go out there and score a touchdown, now it's 17-13. Okay, hey man, we get another at least we get in field goal range again. We get field goal range again. We can at least be it's only a 1-point deficit, or man, we can go there and get a 4-point lead. We able to get a touchdown, but the offense felt like it did something because we were able to move the football and we cashed in. You move the football and you get no points. You feel defeated. You feel, man, nothing we can do, bro. We can't do nothing right today. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. You feel like that, but at least, okay, you got something good. So again, you paid double for that. Just like that next extra point against the Colts. Luckily, that Minshew underthrew the ball, short on the ball, and that was the short on the ball. It's that extra point would have cost you double because in a playoff type situation, because that would have been the game. If they get in, if all the Colts gotta do is really seal the ball and score a touchdown with no time left, and kick the extra point, and they go home as the AFC South champions, and the Texans don't make the playoffs. And we're not talking about C.J. Stroud in the playoffs. We're not talking about the game because we're not having the playoff hunger that we had. We're not talking about 7th AFC South championship and things like that. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that football that we've had all the way midway through January. We had football deep into January this year. Like this was the 24th, 25th. It was the 25th. This is the first. Was it 20? No, yesterday was the 28th. So yeah, 28th. The 28th was the first time that we had a weekend. The 28th of January was the first time that we had a weekend that the Texans didn't have football. The 28th of January was the first time this season that we had a weekend that the Texans didn't have football outside their bye week, outside the week that we know they don't have football because they had their bye week. We got all the way into the 20th of January. That's how we felt. Why do the Texans need Barkley? Y'all talking about Saquon? I mean, we do need to upgrade the run back position. I mean, Saquon's a guy that's available. You got Saquon, you got Derrick Henry, you have DeAndre Swift. You also have what's his name? Josh Jacobs from Vegas. I do think we need to upgrade the running back position. I want us to upgrade the running back position, but I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. Like Lamar Miller and Lamar Green, for y'all who remember when the Texans signed Lamar Green, I feel I'm very reserved when we talk about getting free agent running backs, because a lot of times getting free agent running backs don't really happen. I mean, as far as it doesn't really pay off the way you want it to most of the time. But again, the Texans are in a situation that the Texans, I mean, both those sides, the Texans weren't even the situation that we in. Because even though I know Lamar Miller played with Deshaun Watson, we played with the 2016 offseason. We paid a lot of money. We gave Brock Osweiler $72 million. That wasn't good investment, and we also gave what you call it money as well. I said Lamar Miller. And again, we paid. We just but that's how we try to throw a lot of money at a lot of problems, and neither one of them really panned out. Even though Lamar Miller did rush for 1,000 yards, neither one of them really panned out the way we was paying them to pan out. And then the Amon Green situation, the Texans, if I'm not mistaken, when we signed Amon Green, might have been the first 8-8 season. Yeah, we signed Lamar Green, then we went 8-8 the first time. So that was really you were a bad football team because I think the year before you were 10-6. Yeah, I mean 6-10. The year before you were 10-6. So you were just trying to make some type of splashes. I mean, I think it was the Texans' first time really having money for their existence because this is what that would be the first year we won 4 games, second year we won 5 games, then we won 7 games, then we went 2-14, and then the next year we won 6 games for Garrett Kubiak's first season. So yeah, so that was the 6th season of the Texans franchise. I feel like the Texans really just trying to make a splash because it was like they really first time of really having some money. Amon Green was a big name in Green Bay and stuff like that. He was a notarizable person, a person who would sell jerseys and stuff like that. I think that more so was them trying to make a splash. It had nothing really to do with scheme fit, or it was really just trying to wheel in a big fish to try to do something, try to get something done, just really trying to sit up here and wheel in a big fish. That's why I think like that signing was. And with Lamar Miller and Brock Osweiler, I feel like both of those where you just trying to throw bad money at problems. You just trying to throw money at problems, trying to get something going because you're trying to throw some money at problems. We had some salary cap flexibility. We just trying to throw some money at some problems and hope something happen. Bill O'Brien, we trying to get Bill O'Brien going. We started to see a little bit of success with him as a coach because remember we went 9-7, then made the playoffs 9-7 and made the playoffs and got beat bad by not Minnesota, but got beat bad by Kansas City. So I feel like you were just trying to throw some money at some problems. And like I said, I think with Amon Green one, it was really your first time in franchise history actually having some money, and you just trying to get a big fish and trying to get a big name and trying to get some out there. So I think those situations are different, but even still, they still have me a little bit reserved when it comes to making those type of decisions because of it's bit us before in the past. So I have an issue. Well, I'm kind of reserved when it comes to signing a running back. And the thing is, I want them to bring in a running back. I feel like they do. I feel like probably DeAndre Swift would probably be the better and cheaper option, the better, cheaper, safer option. Because they really all of them got injured. The only one who really don't have injury concern is Derrick Henry, and I just think that eventually Derrick Henry gonna run out of gas. Even though this past year, even though I think he was like either second and third in rushing yards. And really outside of 2 times he played the Texans, he really was playing looking like Derrick Henry. I think that, but I mean, even though the Texans are a team that has a championship window now. I can see Derrick Henry going to Kansas City. I can see Derrick Henry going to Dallas. Even though I think Houston would be a way more attractive spot than Dallas. But I can see Derrick Henry going to Kansas City. Possibly Derrick Henry can go Buffalo. I can see him going to I can see Derrick Henry going to one of those type of teams. I think Austin Eckler is a free agent too, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like Derrick Henry gonna go to one of those spots where, and I think Kansas City probably is his prime example because he's like, man, these boys just go to sleep and wake up in a conference championship game. And hey, if Pat got me, man, I just gotta give Pat a little bit, and we going to the bowl. I'm pretty sure that's how he's looking. So I'm pretty sure he would probably take a cheap deal just to go to Kansas City. He would take a 1-year deal. He would take a 1-year deal like type situation to go to Kansas City. So I feel like like he's the only one, and he's even missed time with injury. It was really that 1 year where he got hurt in the middle of the season. That's the only real issue he had with injury because remember in the beginning of his year, beginning of his career in Tennessee. they kept him on the sideline because they was they was playing carries with both him and DeMarco Murray, and then they also was splitting carries with him and D.D. Westbrook. So he was splitting carries early on in his career in Tennessee up until that 2018 season when he blew up. Well, 2018 season, 2019 season, like up until the end of 2018 season, all of 2019, 2020, and so forth, we really blew up and really became King Henry, so to speak. So, but other than that, like I said, I think that so he has probably a little bit less trail time, but he is older. He's older than the rest of the guys, but as far as actual playing wear and tear, he has less. Like I said, Josh Jacobs, he's been hurt a couple times. We already know the issue with Saquon Barkley, and also same thing with DeAndre Swift. But on the flip side, I think that Saquon Barkley and DeAndre Swift, more so Saquon Barkley, because I mean they both can do well in the passing game, but I actually feel it mostly with Saquon. Honestly, it can have a Christian McCaffrey type effect that Christian McCaffrey got with San Francisco. Because you think about like both of them, like Saquon and the Giants, is the same thing that Christian McCaffrey was with with the Carolina Panthers. All that. Like they basically they were the focal points of the offense. Their offense did not move and did not do anything. Panthers offense didn't do anything without Christian McCaffrey, especially once Cam Newton was gone. The Giants offense didn't do anything without Saquon Barkley. Those are the only they were the moving points. And you get the 49ers when it comes to Christian McCaffrey, he's no longer the complete focal point. You got Debo Samuels, you got Brandon Ayuk, you got George Kittle, you got other guys, other playmakers, you got a solid offensive line, you got a legitimate play caller in Kyle Shanahan. Probably, I've always said that Kyle Shanahan was the best offensive coordinator in the league. So I felt like that when he was Houston Texans, when he was the OC for Houston Texans, I feel like he was the best OC in the league. So I feel like it's him and Andy Reid, and I know Andy Reid's been doing it for a long period of time. And I feel like Andy Reid's been doing it for a long period of time. They are the two best play callers in the league as it stands right now. And as it stands right now, you got those two guys that's high level play callers, and when calling the plays and really taking the football out of his hand enough that it don't put a lot of pressure on him. He's able to sit up here. He's able to get healthy within the offense. And I know he went the whole stretch for like a year and a half, 2 years, damn near, of scoring a touchdown every single game he was in. So you have that. I think the Saquon could have that same type of effect. Maybe not because he's not the same player and the same level of Christian McCaffrey. Even though before he got hurt, I mean his rookie year, he was looked up as that. But I do think that if you bring in Saquon, I do think that you can have a similar Christian McCaffrey type feel. Not saying it's the same type of Christian McCaffrey effect. The offense is not focused completely on Saquon Barkley. You got your Nico Collins, you got Tank Dell, you got C.J. Stroud. You got a quarterback who's a better quarterback than a Brock Purdy. Who like I said, so you have that. Then also, like I know a lot of people were mad about Bobby Slowick. Like I said before, Bobby Slowick has, as the season progressed, Baltimore game withstanding both of them. I seem like the Baltimore Ravens really his kryptonite. He was able to call good game. He has some good play calls in the Browns game. Like I said, my issue with Bobby Slowick mostly is the red zone. Like my issue with Bobby Slowick mostly play calling wise is the red zone. I think he has a complete issue when calling plays in the red zone. I feel like he has an issue with play calling in the red zone. And I feel like, again, a player like Saquon, getting a legitimate running game, and I think you do keep Singletary. I think you keep Dameon Pierce. I think you have Saquon, Dameon Pierce, and Singletary. I think that actually helps out your running game. And I think that also helps out your red zone as well, because now you could do some things with Saquon. You can run the football with Saquon. You can throw the You can do a lot of things, a lot of different things once you get into the red zone, the restricted area with Saquon Barkley. Now, do I think the Texans need to go out there and target Saquon? No, I don't think the Texans need to go out there and target Saquon. But I'm using it as I wouldn't be surprised if he could have a similar, not say he had the exact, but have a similar type of effect that Christian McCaffrey, and resurgence rather, not effect, have a similar type of resurgence that Christian McCaffrey had from going from Carolina to 49ers, that Saquon can have from going from the Giants, where he's the focal point of the offense, to the Texans with Bobby Slowick, C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and potential who else you get in the draft if you get a Keon Coleman, if you getting Xavier Hutchinson, if you get Xavier Legend, if you happen to get if you happen to get a Hollywood Brown, because he's a guy who's going to be out there too. You might be able to get Hollywood Brown from free agent. I know I just seen somebody put Saquon and Mike Evans. So you could potentially get a lot of more guys that also help take off some of that pressure from Saquon Barkley. That even if you add Saquon Barkley, it's not. My thing is, like I said to start this off, how I feel about adding, how I feel about adding in free agent running backs, because it hasn't benefited us in the past. And again, I do think that I do think those situations are different. The teams in a different position and situation now than we were in back in 2016 when we signed Lamar Miller, and Amon Green was 2006. Yeah, like 2006, 2007 when we signed Lamar Green. One of the two. I think it was 2006 though. I feel like it was 2006. It might have been 2007, but I think it was 2006 when we signed Lamar Green. So we in a different situation. Yeah, it was 2000. It was 2000. It was 2006, because I remember we signed Lamar Green to like a 3-4 year deal, and the 2 years that he was on the team, we had 2 different 1,000-yard rushers, and we had because Ron Dane had rushed for 1,000 yards as a backup, and then also we also brought we brought Amon Green back. Okay, it's still gonna be a Amon Green scene, and then Steve Slane came in as a rookie and rushed for 1,000 yards as well as a rookie, as being the second running back. The crazy thing is, we almost had the exact same situation with Singletary, the backup running back, coming in this system and rushing for 1,000 yards. I told y'all that this system bursts 1,000-yard rushes. The reason why Singletary didn't rush for 1,000 yards is because Bobby Sloyd was stubborn and didn't decide to give the ball to the Singletary sooner. The Jazz game, the second Jazz game in November, like that Jazz game, that Denver Bronco game, because I think he was like 111 yards away from 1,000 yards. If Singletary would have been the primary running back in both those games, I think Singletary has 1,000 yards. Singletary has 1,000 yards if he doesn't give the football back to Dameon Pierce in that second Jazz game and the Denver Bronco game the following week. I feel like Singletary has 1,000 yards this season. So that's on Bobby. Personally, and again, I do think that's something that could be changed and corrected and fixed if you decide to go out there and get a running back this offseason. I've seen somebody Hollywood speed receiver. Absolutely. I think, to be honest, I know a lot of people want Mike Evans. I understand that. Me personally, I feel like the Texans. Don't worry, we gonna talk about this a lot ad nauseum. Between now and the free agency and the draft, I feel like the Texans should sign Hollywood Brown. I don't think it's gonna cost them that much. I feel like they should sign Hollywood Brown, and then also depending on how the draft board falls. Hopefully, if Keon Coleman falls to you at pick 23, you draft Keon Coleman, and you talking about your 4 receivers for the Houston Texans. 4 primary receivers will be Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Keon Coleman, Hollywood Brown. And then wherever you get out, Xavier Hutchinson is cherries on top. Because I feel like Keon Coleman is your number 1 receiver. I feel like Keon Coleman is your number 1 receiver. I feel like Tank. Tank. I feel like Tank is your playmaker. I feel like I feel like Tank is your playmaker. I feel like Nico is your security blanket, and I feel like Hollywood is your take the top off the defense, and you come out there plenty of times 4 wide. Like, you see Stroud come out there shotgun 4 wide with those 4 receivers, boy. And then if you do happen to get like a Saquon Barkley, or I would target, to be honest, DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift coming out of Georgia back in, was it 2020? Yeah, when we came out of the 2020 draft. I like DeAndre Swift coming out of the 2020 draft. So yeah, that's what I would do personally. Like that's personally we talk about, because I feel like really what they should do from a money standpoint. I feel like from a money standpoint they should focus on defense. Go out there and get some DB. Go out there and get some go out there and get, because I think you're gonna let go of Singletary. So I think you should go out there and you should get some DTs, some DBs, some safeties, some corners, some things like that. I feel like that's what you need to do. Go out there on defense, focus on defense. But I do think somebody like DeAndre Swift and Hollywood, especially Hollywood, they're not gonna cost you a lot. They're not. Neither one of those guys are gonna cost you a lot. Those are gonna be like the cheaper of the receiver and running back spectrum. So I feel like those two guys, they're not gonna cost you a lot. Focus, put money on defense. You pay, you give those two some little, you give those two some contracts right there, and then boom, like I said, you take off, and then you do what you gotta do with the draft. You let the draft board fall to you. Then you walk into the season like that, man. Hold up, hold up. Hold up. You sure all right, bro. Hit that like button, man. Hit that like button, man. Man, appreciate everybody that came through, that kicked it with your boy tonight. I know it was kind of different. You know what I'm saying? I know we don't talk on Mondays. And I know it's a day behind the championship games. But I just have to talk about that because that Dan Campbell thing, the Dan Campbell thing made me mad yesterday. And I really should have jumped on live right after the game and talked about it right after the game when it was fresh. And I was mad, but I'm actually glad I did, because I didn't see because I wanted to see the press conference, and I'm glad I seen the press conference. Because me seeing that press conference of him telling his team that, me seeing that press conference of him telling his team that they probably not gonna make it back here, and this is good gonna get, and all this bull he was saying, infuriated me more. I'm like, bro, so you gonna tell him that? Which you're not lying. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you. You're not lying. You really are telling the truth. That more than likely teams don't make it this far. Like I say, as Dan Marino, as Drew Brees, who's only been to one Super Bowl, as Aaron Rodgers, who's only been to one Super Bowl. Now, luckily, both of those guys able to finish the job and got the job done. But as great as they is, they've only been to one. Like asking a lot of guys. Russell Wilson hasn't been back since that interception. Like, so yeah, you're right. It is tough to get back. Once you get here, it is tough to come back. I understand that. You're completely right about that. But when you're the reason that they don't go past this point, you don't say that. Even if it is the truth. Because it is the truth. You do not say it. Because you're the reason why they're not going past this point. You're the reason why they're not going any further. It's on you. You're the reason. So since you're the reason why they're not going any further, you don't need to say anything about them not going further. Because you're the reason why they're not going any further. You're the reason. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that, oh man, we're not going to go any further because you're the reason. So the rate that people was skipping, that made me even more mad. And then also the people defending them, we know as we doing all year. And you do what got you there. And all the other bull, like stop it. Stop it. And then also the same thing with Lamar Jackson, bro. Like Lamar Jackson is nowhere near on Patrick's level. And you got to just call greatness what it is, bro. And that's really what we're watching. We see sometimes, even though, especially when it's not your team, it's kind of hard to sit back and enjoy, because it really, it was kind of really hard to sit back and watch and enjoy Brady, because of the Texans really wasn't a good football team. But sometimes you got to sit back and say, sometimes it does go on your nerves, and you be like, I'm tired of looking at this. Bro, sometimes you got to sit back and watch and just look at like, hey, bro, this is greatness. And we got to respect greatness. And that's what I'm sitting back here doing when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Texas Tech guy, and Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes is one of my favorite. Patrick Mahomes is one of my favorite all-time players in the NFL. Yeah, he's already my favorite quarterback. Now I think that CJ Stroud is probably gonna change my opinion. You know what I'm saying, about, a couple of months, you know what I'm saying? Like CJ Stroud might end up being, my favorite quarterback all the time, the way he's looking. Just because he put on that deep steel blue, that Liberty white, and that Ball red. Like you put them on, you already, you know what I'm saying, you already got, levels above other people, but but I do gotta sit up here and respect what Patrick Mahomes has done. Like I said, also he's a Texas Tech guy. I've seen every Patrick Mahomes play he's ever played at Texas Tech. And like I said, contrary to what people believe, I don't root for Patrick Mahomes in the NFL outside the play. Only time is during the playoffs, because like normally in the playoffs, I has no bearings on what was going on, especially in recent memory because the Texans ain't been in the playoffs. So then, yeah, of course, they're not rooting for them in the regular season. In the regular season, nah. Regular season, nah. But as stuff goes, as the playoffs, I do. The Super Bowls, yeah. All three of his previous Super Bowls, I definitely root for Patrick Mahomes. And like I said, sometimes you got to sit up here and you got to witness greatness. And again, the Texans, like I said about righting the wrongs, going back to the scene of the crimes, that is a wrong that we got to right. Man, you got. And one thing I want to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Because that's one thing that Patrick Mahomes got over everybody. He's beating Lamar Jackson. He's beating Joe Burrow. He completely just what's his name? Josh Allen in a contest. He's beating Deshaun Watson. Like he's beating all the quarterbacks. I mean, Wichita can't even get to the playoffs. He's beating Trevor Lawrence. Wichita can't even get to the playoffs. Herbert. He's beating Tua now. Who else is he beating? I mean, like he's who else is he beating? He beats a lot of players. So he's beating a lot of players he's beating a lot of players and a lot of quarterbacks that people perceive and people think how people feel on the the top echelon things or on the top echelon things. So I would want CJ Stroud to go out there and defeat them as well, and go out there and defeat him as well. So you can't say you beat CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud has beaten you and has gone to Super Bowl like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has beat Patrick Mahomes, but he didn't finish the job. That's the only thing about Joe Burrow. He's beat Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead, but he hasn't finished the job yet. So, because he didn't complete the Super Bowl championship. Because the only people who beat him is Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. That's the only people who ever beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Tom Brady's beating him in the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, and Joe Burrow's beating him in the AFC Championship game. CJ Stroud got to be the quarterback to beat him. And I said he got his revenge. He got revenge on Joe Burrow, and never really got a chance to get revenge on. But never got to get his revenge on what's his name on Tom Brady because Tom Brady's retired. But hey, he lost to Tom Brady twice. So so even if he catches Tom Brady when it comes to accolades standpoint, he's lost to Tom Brady twice in the playoffs, once in the conference championship game and then once in the Super Bowl. So it is what it is when it comes to his head to head against Tom Brady. And that's just also just put Tom Brady possibly more so out of reach than Patrick Mahomes. Out of reach to Patrick Mahomes because he does have he is 2-0 against Patrick Mahomes in the postseason, and Patrick Mahomes will never be able to fix that. So it is what it is. But man, appreciate everybody to come through. I definitely appreciate that. Man, if you ain't hit the like button already, hey, make sure you hit the like button because more people have jumped in, but the likes ain't going up. So I know some of y'all in here right now watching and looking and you know what I'm saying, look checking it out, checking it out. Y'all ain't hit the like button. So y'all can hit that like button now. Go ahead, hit that like button now. Go ahead. I said, appreciate y'all coming through. Don't worry, I got videos coming this week. I was supposed to drop some stuff last week, but got real super busy. That's also the reason why I didn't do my pregame. So I was going to do my pregame video. I didn't get a chance to do that, but I got videos coming this week and lives coming this week. So don't worry. Just because the Texans are playoffs and stuff is starting to wind down, you see, I dropped. You weren't expecting this one today. Don't worry. So Wednesday, we still doing what we do on Wednesday. Still got a video coming on Wednesday. So make sure y'all tune in at 8:30 on Wednesday, right here, live to watch the game. We might even do a live Pro Bowl, especially if CJ go in. But I don't think CJ going to the Pro Bowl. Who knows? Because Lamar Jackson, obviously now Patrick Mahomes is not going. And who knows if Lamar Jackson or what's his name, Josh Allen decided to go. So CJ might end up getting thrown in. I kind of really hope not because I want CJ to get his first Pro Bowl. I want him to get it in as a voter, as a voted in. I don't want this little free Pro Bowl, even though he deserved it this year. Like I would feel differently about this because I feel, especially when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. And that's another reason why I'm glad Patrick Mahomes is going to the Super Bowl because Patrick Mahomes shouldn't have been the Pro Bowl anyway. So whoever gets into the Pro Bowl for Patrick Mahomes' spot deserves to be in the Pro Bowl anyway because Patrick Mahomes didn't deserve to be in the Pro Bowl this year. So he didn't deserve to be in the Pro Bowl this year anyway. So it's like I said, CJ deserves to be in the Pro Bowl anyway. So I would definitely count this Pro Bowl for CJ if he did get in and did decide to go. So, like I said, appreciate everybody to come through. We're gonna do a video, like I said, on Wednesday. I also got some video, like I said, I got some stuff I want to do. I want to break down individual players of the teams and what they did this season, what it meant this season, and also what does it mean going forward, and how does them being on the roster or not being on the roster in certain cases affect the team's progression, and how we will be able to fix it, or whatever the case may be, because different players got different situations. We're going to talk about that later, so make sure y'all be on the lookout. You know what I'm saying? Keep your eyes and your ears open, you know what I'm saying, so we can get to talk about this and exactly break it down. So like, share, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. Hey! We're still in the race to get 6,000 subscribers, you know what that means. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell another friend, tell some more friends so they can tell some friends and put more game with the channel. Also, like, I can't do without y'all. I need y'all help. I need y'all to like, share, subscribe, and click that bell, get more videos so we can get 6,000 subscribers. Already.